This is Capital Games Movie Club. I am the Wiz.
And I'm Kim Shactman.
Kimmy, how are you doing today?
Hey, good. It's
Fuck,
Thursday
girl.
night.
Oh, God. Yeah. Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, so you forced us to watch that thing we do last week. So I decided to subject you to the movie A Hard Day's Night, directed by Richard Lester. It is a movie from what year? 1964. Yes, 64. And it's starring the Beatles. I could name them, but I think we all know who the Beatles are at this point.
Should we try?
I can do it. Fine.
Go.
John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr.
Good job.
Yeah, come on.
Well, when I was watching the movie, my husband was like, "Who's that? Who's that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. They all look the same."
Oh my God.
And he's a big Beatles fan, so he was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Unfortunately, yes."
I mean, well, they dress the same specifically in this.
Well, their hair is similar to, like, everything's similar. So.
Well, Ringo and Paul, I think, look more distinctive. I think it's John and George where I'm like, okay, is that Lennon or is that Harrison? Like,
yeah, I can't remember. It's hard to pinpoint it.
Those two are the ones I'm like, wait a minute. But like, if you were to look at like Lennon before he died, Lennon looks very distinctive. But like George is the one where I often forget he was a Beatle, honestly. But let's move on. Why did I choose this movie? Basically, for those who've already listened to the show and know me, I'm a big Criterion Collection fan. I own a lot of the movies that are in the Criterion Collection. Kim, are you aware what the Criterion Collection is?
I was just going to ask you, what is that?
Okay, so the Criterion Collection is a boutique Blu-ray and DVD distributor that they take rare or important films, or I guess not just inventive films, but important films that broke the medium and into different directions. And then they make them into, they give them special edition, like special features, and give them very distinct, beautiful looking art on the box, and then redistribute them with special features in a brand new transfer. I recently bought the 4K of this movie a while back. Everything I've heard about this movie is that it is actually an important movie, because for a number of reasons. It may not be important for the reasons for movies in itself, but it's more in the pop culture zeitgeist, really, because I believe this is one of the first movies that is, I guess now what you would consider to be a music video of sorts.
I was just going to mention, I read up that it kind of broke the mold, or kind of was the gateway into music videos.
Yes, yeah, I would definitely agree with that. But so when it comes to like pop culture, this is a unique and different movie that broke the mold for certain things to happen. But as a film, like that was the question I had. As a film, what's its importance? And I guess we'll get into that a little bit on here. But we talked about in the end of the last episode who we prefer, Elvis or the Beatles. Of course, you're Elvis. I've already known that.
110% Elvis.
Yes. And I like Elvis too. I actually prefer Elvis over the Beatles. But what is your favorite Beatles song?
Oh God. Wow, you're really putting me on the spot right now.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first, and then I'll come back to me.
Twist and Shout. And
oh, no, I forgot about that one.
I have too. And I would look at Twist and Shout as the song that I really liked in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I was just going to say, that's such a classic.
Yes. And I'm not a big fan of Ferris Bueller. I like it, but it's that scene with that song was like really distinctive, and I really liked it. And it wasn't until I bought the Beatles Rock Band about maybe 12 years ago when I finally realized, like, oh my God, Twist and Shout is a Beatles song? Holy shit.
Yeah, like you just don't realize it.
Yeah. But that is the uniqueness of the Beatles. They have a lot of different songs that span a bunch of different genres to a certain extent. Because they not only have those type of songs, they have ballads. They have all sorts of other different distinctive songs that are from the Beatles. But I guess you would, if you're not a big fan of the Beatles, you wouldn't necessarily believe it is. Now that I have given you some time, favorite Beatles song?
Okay, so probably Blackbird. I really, really like that song. It's a sad song, but I don't know, there's just something about it. It's a ballad. So probably for a ballad, I'd say Blackbird, but for something a little bit more upbeat, I really do like I Want to Hold Your Hand.
That is a good
And the
song.
reason I like that is because my dad used to sing that all the time when I was a kid. So he liked Elvis a lot, but he liked the Beatles too. So he used to just like walk around the house singing it, and that's just what I think of. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's nice. The only thing that my mom was into music, but the only thing that my mom listened to was Whitney Houston. And yeah. The unfortunate problem, like I to this day, like I can say, yeah, Whitney Houston was a really good singer, but I can probably, if you really put a gun to my head, I can probably do the whole song of "Be My Baby Tonight," and I would hate every minute of it because I've heard it all my life.
Oh, you know what else is you know what else is a really good Beatles song? They have a song that's just called "Birthday." Have you ever heard of that one?
No, I haven't.
Okay, after we get off this podcast, you need to listen to that song. Every time it was my birthday, my dad would sing that song too. And he would sing it to anyone. Like when they were like, oh, today's my birthday, he would just start singing it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
A friend of mine, a good friend, when we were friends, he got into a Beatles kick, and he would listen to the White Album a lot. And then Revolution number 9 would come up, and we'd have to listen to that a lot. And that was like, okay, I get it. Like, it's a weird song. We're like, oh, you don't understand, man. They're like saying something. No, they're just saying Revolution number 9, number 9, number 9, number. Like and then when the Simpsons did a take on it, I thought it was absolutely hilarious. But
oh, I think I remember the Simpsons take. Now that you say that,
number 8.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It's so funny.
Yeah. So, but like the Beatles,
they also like. I feel like a lot of their music is in a lot of like television shows and movies.
Oh
too,
yeah.
Though. Like, I just noticed they have that song "Obla Di Obla Da, Life Goes On." That's from the Wonder Years, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like when it comes to pop culture, like the Beatles is probably one of the most important and distinctive bands that have ever lived in this point.
Oh, for sure.
But I guess we should just get started with the movie now that we've gone through a little
music.
The music. So we're going to discuss A Hard Day's Night, directed by Richard Lester. I will say this: the movie's fun, but coming from a snobby cinephile that looks his nose up on things that are just fun, because I strive for more.
Why have fun?
I strive for more with my movies, my film, cinema.
Film cinema.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't use the word movie. I use the word film.
I don't. Like, I'll be absolutely honest with you. If I say something is a good movie, it's usually like, yeah, for what it is. If you hear anyone, if I say to somebody, yeah, it's a good movie, and it's usually like a Fast and the Furious, like, yeah, it's good for trash. You know?
Yeah, that's basically what you're saying.
Yeah. I like the Fast and the Furious movies, but come on, people. Anyway, let's get back into it. It's a fun movie. It really is. But I was kind of surprised by how people think of it as an important movie. A lot of people, when they talk about it, it's like one of the first mockumentaries. It's what it did this important thing and that important thing. I'm like, sure. Okay.
Like, did it though? Like, I mean, I guess you'd have to be. I guess if you grew up in that time, right? Like, it would seem that way.
So yeah, I would say so. Like, if you want to look at it intellectually and historically, okay, sure. Sometimes though, and I felt this way immediately after I watched the film. Sometimes people over-intellectualize certain things, especially with things they're really into. And you know what? I'm guilty of it too. There are times where I really get in depth into something, and it takes someone to go up and goes, "Bro, it's James Bond. What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah,
and then I'll be like, yeah, okay, good point. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
back
like
there.
if you're like a hardcore Beatles fan,
Oh
like,
yes.
like you would just be like, this is the greatest thing on earth. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes. No, absolutely. And for Beatles fans, I totally get why they love this movie. When it comes to like Beatles fans and maybe people who are into music, I totally get why they love it. As a film fan, as someone who loves film, it's hard for me not to look at this as charitably just a fun movie, but cynically as a marketing tool.
that's exactly how I felt when I was watching it.
Yeah.
You just nailed that right on the head. Like, I have no argument against that.
And some people are going to hear that and go, well, oh, that's pretty messed up. You know, it is an important film. Yeah, and I get the importance of it. When we were discussing this film before we watched it, the thing that kept coming up is mock documentaries.
Right.
Do you know what a mock documentary or a mockumentary is?
Well,
right?
you went over it with me before we watched, before I watched it, just to give me a heads up.
Right.
Because I had never. So first of all, just to give you some history, for me, this was probably, I think, the first black and white movie I've ever watched.
Oh my
Ever.
God. Really?
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
You're going to get a lot more coming up if we're going to continue this. So
Yeah,
I'm just going to warn you. Really?
No,
that's the
fine.
first one? Is there a reason why you've not watched it in black and white?
I'm not a hardcore film buff like you is, so
Well, I know that. Well,
I grew up in I grew up in the 90s, so there really weren't any black and white movies coming out.
Sure. But like there are some people who are really snobbish about this. No, I don't like old movies. Like, ugh. Like,
oh no! Like I
that.
guess I was never exposed to them.
Okay.
Like ever. Yeah, until now. So.
Yeah, and like people, a lot of normal people are like, either they don't want to watch black and white movies, they don't even want to watch old movies. If the movies are from before they were born, they do not want to watch them. They're not interested. Or there are some that are like, and I think I get this more, is foreign language films. If it's subtitled, I don't want to watch it. Put it in dubbed, or I'm not interested. I get that a lot too, but that is interesting. This is the first black and white movie you've seen? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So.
And I liked it. No color was like, it didn't bother me that it was in black and white. I liked it. I didn't mind that. And
well, it's visually distinctive. It is.
Yes. Okay, so I had a really hard time with this movie, and
Yeah.
I was telling you a little bit before this because the British accents are really thick, to me anyway.
Okay.
And I kind of wish I put on the subtitles when I watched it because I was having a hard time following it, and I don't know if it was because of that or it was because of the lack of storyline or both. I don't know, but I was just like, I have no idea what's going on in this movie right now. I was watching it and I'm just like, what?
I mean, the humor is also of its time and of the place it is from too.
Right.
That's another thing that I like. As I was watching the movie, I did have to Google some terms. I'm like, what does this mean? Like, I think the one term was breach of. Oh God, there was one term that was about marriage, essentially. That was a joke throughout the film involving the grandfather, where I was like, okay, they're repeating that a lot. What does that mean? Oh, okay, he's a player. Okay, got it. Like, okay.
Yeah,
what?
I didn't even catch on to that. I was like, what is happening? Like,
I was exposed to British humor and a lot when I was younger, and when I was in high school, I got into a lot of British stuff as well.
Okay.
So, but we've talked about this before as well. There are a couple of British movies that I've watched where I've had to put on subtitles because the accents were so thick, I could not understand it. A movie I love, Kess, is an example of that. Kess is about a poor kid in northern England who befriends a kestrel. And it's a really uplifting but really sad movie. But the accents and the terminology they use are so thick and so distinctive that for me to understand a damn thing, I needed subtitles. Like, that happens. It definitely does happen with some English movies, but I understand that. Go ahead.
I really liked the way it was shot.
Yes.
Like, I liked how it was like in like those like different clips. Like, it was like clippy, and I like the black and white. It was very sharp looking.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way everything was shot. I like when they zoomed in on like specific facial expressions or the actors in specific moments, I guess you could say, and when they're singing. So there were some things there that I really liked. There's one part in the movie that I did not like where they shot and it was like they were shaking the camera and I thought I was going to throw up. I was like, oh my God. It's like the part when they're like running around. That was
the field. Okay, yes.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, this is like making me dizzy.
I did like the visual aesthetic of the movie. I normally really like the visual style of black and white because
it's awesome.
And the thing with black and white movies that I particularly enjoy is that when you have a handicap in certain aspects, it can become with color, it can be with sound, with anything. You have to be more creative with what you do to show the artistry of what you're doing, and that's why a lot of black and white movies still work to this day, because a lot of really good ones, Casablanca, Citizen Kane, things like that, they had to do very different things to get the point across, and to make the movie a lot more visually distinctive, to use shadows and stuff a lot better. And black and white movies do that really well, and they end up being very visually distinctive and unique. I definitely like the visual aesthetic to this movie, absolutely.
I mean, for me, it's kind of, obviously the music, right? There's music in it, for those that don't know that. It's kind of like a musical, if you will, in a way.
Oh, the music's the star in this movie, really.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it. But
yes.
I don't know. Other than that, I was kind of like, eh. Like, would I watch it again? Definitely not.
No.
Did I enjoy it? Not really. I was kind of bored with it, to be honest with you.
Well, if it was Elvis, then you would.
Yeah, if it was Elvis, oh God.
Yeah.
But to be fair,
okay.
I have seen a lot of Elvis movies, and he's not a very good actor.
No, but what I will say about this, okay, and this is going to sound really weird, okay? Bear with me.
Okay.
Elvis actually tries in his movies.
Well, you do know that when he was young, he wanted to be an actor, not a singer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I forget the one movie of his that I actually like. But to be fair to Elvis, even though most of his movies are pretty bad.
They're terrible, yeah.
Yes. There's one that I did like, and I forget the name of it, and it just shows how much I liked it. But the thing I can say about Elvis is that he fucking tries when he actually...
He did.
He tries.
On the flip side of that, do you feel like the Beatles weren't really trying in this movie?
Not at all. No.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, wow, the acting in this sucks.
The acting with them sucks. But here's the thing that I found strange with this movie, that I ended up like... I was watching this and go, these guys are not even trying. It's like they're not trying. But that kind of added to the charm and fun to me. It's let me.
Okay, so while I was watching this movie, and maybe it was because of the black and white, I don't know, and like the quirkiness of the writing, all I could think of was the Three Stooges.
Oh yeah, okay, I can definitely see that. Sure.
Like, not like full-blown Stooges, but like on the edge of being similar. Because of the quirkiness, and just the way it was written, I guess, and the type of humor, I guess. No,
I get what you're saying. I can see what you're saying on that. Like, and I sort of agree.
And I do not like the Three Stooges.
Like, it is pretty slapstick. I will agree with that. The thing that really got me in this movie is that the movie didn't try to hide it. It didn't even like.
Yeah, it was just like right out in the open. There, we get you're not trying.
Like, but that's kind of the fun of it. It's just these guys having a ball doing what they do, and it's kind of charming in the way. And I will at no point say that these guys did a good job. They did not. They were just like, yeah, we're having a movie here and singing.
We're musicians just making a film.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But that's kind of the charming thing about it.
It's
to
true.
me. Like I at no point will I say like this is a masterclass in acting. They're terrible, but it's kind of strangely charming in a way, and I think that's also due to the fact that I do like the Beatles in this way, and I do find them kind of charming in that way. Whereas, but I guess that was like the difference between them and Elvis. Right. Elvis tried and he failed, and you can tell he's trying and he's not doing a great job.
Right.
These guys aren't trying; they're just having a blast, and such. You take it in that stride, and you're like, okay, yeah, they're having fun. That's cool,
yeah,
I guess.
Okay, I get what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and to that point, it's like, okay, like, I get what you're doing.
I can accept this.
Yes, exactly. Like, you're not trying, you're just having fun. You're not even pretending to be serious about this. Okay, right. I'll join you. Okay, cool.
Yes, exactly. No,
okay.
I agree.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I was mentioning the whole mockumentary thing, how people were saying, like, oh, this is like the first mockumentary that was popular. At any point, did you believe this was not fiction?
Did I believe that this was not fiction?
At any point, were you, like, okay, so, mockumentaries, okay, I think the one that I think you might know of is The Office. That's a mockumentary style, where they treat it like they're actual people doing actual life, and it's like a documentary style. People cite this movie as one of the first mockumentaries ever. And the reason why I'm asking is at no point did I not believe this was scripted. Like, at no point was I like, oh, like, because what they were marketing this as, oh, it's a day in the life of the Beatles. At no fucking point did I believe that. Period.
Oh, no.
No,
I didn't believe that either.
It's kind of like, it's really weird that they try to market it and pass it off as that. Because I'm like, I would have had more respect if they said it's a fictionalized account of what the days the Beatles, or the day in the Beatles is like. I would have preferred, okay, cool. It's silly, it's campy, and there's surely not that much sex, which I definitely believe they had much more of back then. But at no point is it like a realistic thing. They tried to pass it off as that, though, and say it's mockumentary. It's not really what happened, but you'll believe it is to a certain extent. And at no point was like, I don't believe this for a fucking second. I don't buy that at all.
I don't believe any of it.
Like, I don't...
Like, whatsoever. Like...
Right.
Yeah, no.
No. No, I definitely agree, because that... And that's not like really a criticism. That's on the marketing and how it was billed to us.
Yeah.
Like, but I guess it's weird because to this day, people still cite this as a mockumentary, and I'm looking at this going, no fucking way. It's like I don't buy that.
Now you also have to remember, like, I haven't really seen many, so I don't really have anything much to compare it to.
Well, you've seen The Office.
Yes, I have seen The Office.
That's a mockumentary.
Yeah. Okay.
So, just the style of it can be a mockumentary style, or like the Blair Witch Project. That's a mockumentary.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. So those are considered mockumentaries to a certain extent. Like, well, definitely those are.
Yeah, this did not. Yeah, they shouldn't have marketed at this as a mockumentary. Like, I did not feel that at all when I watched this. I'm not
gonna fault.
You're not alone. You're not alone in that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fault the movie on that really, and be like, oh, it sucks because it's
like
not.
You said, it almost is like just the marketing of it.
It's kind of like, why? It's like, why would you? If you're gonna say like it's a fictional day in the life thing, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, it's silly, it's goofy. You're not to take it seriously. It's like a day in the Beatles. Like, not really, but okay, fine. It's like I'll go with you on this, but at no point where I was like, yeah, I can see them running around and flirting with well, actually, I could see that.
And, like, climbing up buildings and shit. Like, no.
Yeah. I can definitely see them not liking Ringo all that much.
Yeah. And, like, getting arrested and then trying to break each other out of jail. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Okay, so you were kind of, I guess you didn't like it so much. I thought it was fine. I guess.
I don't know. You know what it was? Like, I didn't dislike it. I was just kind of bored. I was like,
okay.
eh.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of charming in a way. It was just, but it's charming in that I have to be in the right mind space to.
Yes, like I'd have to be in the right mood to watch that movie, and again, like I'm not a huge fan of like slapstick humor. It's just not my type of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think of my husband's father, my father-in-law. Mm-hmm. He would love this movie because he loves the Stooges. It just reminded me of that, and if he watched this, he'd be like, he would just be beside himself. Like, okay. And again, I think it's like that generation too. You know what I mean? Like that was the type of humor too back then.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, Stooges were like the 30s and 40s. So, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It was a different type of humor back then.
Sure.
But yeah, I was just bored with it. Like I was like, okay, like I get it. Like they're making a film just to make a film. It is what it is.
That's essentially what it. And I guess to me, that was the kind of charming thing about it. Was just like, oh, these guys are just treating this as like, whatever, we're doing a film. Okay, Ringo, bang your drums, Ringo. Yay. I'm like, okay, sure, Ringo, have fun. Cool. But I did like the music. I will, but then again, I liked the Beatles beforehand anyway. So that,
but
I guess
who
that's
doesn't
not,
like the
I guess
music,
that's not a surprise. Like,
yeah.
But
right.
I guess the key thing I would have to say with this is, if you're not a fan of the Beatles, I really find no reason to watch this.
Yeah,
like,
I totally agree.
I don't understand people who are like, even if you're not a fan of the Beatles, it's an important movie to watch. It's a great movie.
No, definitely not.
No.
Yeah.
Don't. No. We're getting to spoilers for Hard Day's Night. If you haven't seen it, you can come back and listen when you do. We'll do spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So what would you like to spoil tonight? Because I don't really...
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, like there was this part in the movie, and I kind of gave it away already, but they're like running through a field, and they're like shaking the heck out of the camera. That was like okay by you? Like being a big film buff? Like that's like cool,
let me tell you something. You get used to that shit after a while. The movie that me and Zero watched Tuesday was Chungking Express. And there's important scenes where the film is shaky and distorted and stuff like that.
Oh.
And in that movie, I hated it. I was like, there's no point to this. Why are you doing this? But camera tricks, different types of shaky cam, different types of lighting effects, I'm used to it. Like, I'm totally used to it by now.
Yeah, see, I was like dizzy. I'm like, I can't watch this anymore.
I understand that. It's strobe effects is where I'm like, ugh.
Oh.
There are movies that make liberal use of strobe lighting that I'm like, okay, fucking stop, please.
Yeah, that would be annoying too.
Yeah.
But there was, I think probably one of my favorite scenes in this movie is when Ringo, he was walking around taking pictures because the grandfather told him to like go on parade. Right?
Yeah.
That was one of the words.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? He's gonna go watch a parade? Like, I was like, what is going on? And so that just means like, I guess like go off on your own and do whatever you want to do. And so I really liked the part when he was like by the river with the little boy.
Yes.
And I don't know, I really liked the way they filmed that. It was just interesting to me, and the different clips of it, and I mean, I liked the humor of when he was like sitting on the rock and he was trying to take the picture and he dropped the camera in the water. I was like, oh, that's kind of fun, whatever. But
yeah,
I don't know, I just really liked that scene.
I like the part when he got the coat. All he did is just get a coat, and then the person that was passing him, and he was like, "Oh, get away from the creep!" I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, he just has a coat.
Yeah, like he had a coat and a hat, I think, right?
Well, he had the hat beforehand.
Oh, he did. Okay, I couldn't
but
remember.
he just bought a coat, and I'm like, "Oh, my perfect disguise." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and right beforehand, the two girls were running down the street at him, like, "Oh my God, it's Ringo Starr!" And then like, the girl's like, "Oh my God, this guy's a bum."
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Like, he's like, "Oh yeah, I can get away with murder now. Nobody will know it's me. I'm wearing a coat." Like.
Yeah, there's some interesting trivia that I got from the movie in regards to certain scenes. For example, the beginning scene where they're being chased by all the girls and Ringo and George fall down. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Oh.
And basically, if you watch the scene carefully enough, you'll notice that the main girl in the background stops the other girls for a quick second. So let's see if they're okay to compose themselves. And when they get back up and start running, they keep going. And that was the one part that was, used in that. And that scene has been aped dozens of times in movies and TV shows and stuff like that.
I'm sure.
It was interesting to see that scene specific, that beginning scene. The only plot line there is the grandfather in this movie. And now I come to think
about it. Oh my God. So again, I was a little bored with the movie, but every time he would be in the shot or in a scene and just making the faces that he made and these
yeah.
I thought he was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. And that's the funny thing about this movie too. The actual actors are they actually do their job, and they do their jobs effectively. It's just that they have to go around the Beatles to do their job.
Exactly.
Which is kind of funny in a way.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying.
Well, also the part of the plot is that the Beatles are kind of being a pain in the ass, right? They won't get to their show on time and this and that. So the actors, in a way, they're not really acting. Maybe there have been times where the Beatles didn't get to a show on time. You know what I mean? Because they're young kids.
Yes.
So I was like, oh wow, that must not be that hard to act.
Probably, yeah. I bet there are stories about the making of this film of them being they never had a reputation of being difficult per se, but there probably are stories that are very interesting about the filming of this movie that I would like to know of, but we probably will never know until the other two Beatles pass away, probably. Because there have been stories about Lennon and George Harrison a bit, and that was after they died that we start learning about a few things, some not great things, some good things, some interesting things. But the Beatles themselves, especially McCartney, is somebody who keeps really private at most times.
Yes.
with his things. Ringo, on the other hand, doesn't mind being out there, but Paul really, from what I've gathered, he really cares about his image, so he doesn't really open up too much, really. He just stays who he is. The grandfather, I thought was pretty funny in this. What else?
He's the one that stuck out to me the most. I was kind of everybody else was okay. It just...
I think the best parts of the film are the songs, or when they do the songs in the movie. When they, and it's always a random the scene, and all of a sudden they're doing All My Lovin', and I'm okay, cool, sure.
Yeah, and I do where they place the songs, like you said in the scene, how they just kind of pop up. I was oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Or when they're at that party and they're dancing, that's a fun little scene. Again, it's just kind of fun. It's not, whatever.
They're such dorks. God.
What?
They're such dorks.
Yeah, they're nerds.
I know,
kinda.
But it's stupidly endearing.
But it works for them.
I know.
It works. And I'm just screw you.
I got made fun of for being a nerd, and you're getting all this attention. Why?
Yeah, seriously.
It's not fair.
You made millions of dollars.
It doesn't matter that you're so talented.
Yeah. You're still a dork, and you look like a dork.
Yeah. God, what? Yeah, see, this is an 89-minute film. And when we're saying that there isn't much of a plot, we're serious. There isn't much of a plot to this.
Right. It's supposed to be 2 days in the life of the Beatles. That's literally all it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. That's really all it's supposed to be. And there's no overarching plot. There's no thing oh, Ringo needs to find his grandfather. No, it's just
no underlining deeper thought into this. It's just, it just is what it is.
Right. It's just a means to have joke music. That's really the entirety of the movie. Exactly. And I think the problem with the jokes I have is that they are very distinctive for their time. And without more context to what they're talking about and what they're referencing, it doesn't land to a certain extent.
That's exactly why I had a hard time with it.
Yeah, I did too.
Kind of
I talked about this with a couple of friends of mine in regards to Wayne's World. Have you seen Wayne's World?
I have, but not in a very, very, very long time.
I loved Wayne's World when it was out, and
my
husband
husband did too.
Yeah, and I still love Wayne's World, and I really like Wayne's World 2, even though Wayne's World 2 is considered like not that great.
I've never seen the second one.
It's actually pretty fun. I think it's pretty funny, but apparently Mike Myers is doing a third one, and the first thing I said was, "Fuck no, that's a bad idea." And I'm not even going to get past the fact. I'm not even going to talk about the fact that Mike Myers' track record recently has been bad. It has not been good. Wayne's World, if I were to say, give my 12-year-old nephew Wayne's World, goes, "Oh, this movie is funny." Do you think he'll get most of the jokes?
No. Oh, hell no.
Right. Right.
He'll be like, "This is the stupidest thing I've ever watched."
Exactly.
And that's how I felt about A Hard Day's Night. I was just kind of like, I mean, not the stupidest thing I've ever watched, but I'm just kind of like, this is kind of dumb. Like,
right. It is distinctly of its time.
Of the jokes, yeah.
And you would need to have a lot of context as to what's happening. You just need to have the context behind everything. And since we don't have it innately, it's not going to land as well. And again, I have other reasons why I think a sequel to Wayne's World is a terrible idea. But I think in regards to...
That's going to bomb. If they do that, that's going to bomb.
Don't get me started. Oh, my God. But in comparison to this movie specifically, like that was the thing I started to think about. It's like, if I were to show Wayne's World to my nephews and nieces, I think they would have the same reaction that I had to this, essentially,
exactly.
Where the jokes just don't land. I get
why
I
even think about, like, sometimes too, like Adam Sandler movies, like his older stuff. Like, if I showed that to my nephews, they'd be like, "What the heck is this?" Like,
you don't think they'd laugh at Happy Gilmore?
Maybe, but I mean, it's just a different time. Like, I don't know.
You know, my stance on Adam Sandler is he is actually a very good actor.
I think he's hilarious.
He just does shitty movies.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
But if you were to show your nephews and nieces The Wedding Singer, I think they'd actually enjoy it.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
But that's like
I think it's so funny.
But I think that's the one Adam Sandler movie that if you're not an Adam Sandler fan, that you might actually enjoy of his comedies.
My husband hates it.
All the more reason to make him watch it again. No kidding.
And I'm like, how can you hate this movie? I love this movie. But
I can see. Yeah.
I
enjoy it.
But then, like, my all my family, all the other men in my family love it. They think it's hilarious. He just doesn't like it. I don't know. He's like, I don't hate it. He's like, I'm just bored with it. Like, I couldn't get into it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, we digress.
But my favorite Adam Sandler movie is Punch Drunk Love. But
I liked that movie too.
But that's because it takes the characters that he uses and subverts it in a way that makes it really deep and interesting. It was a really well done movie. So that's why but that's also proven to me that he can be a very good actor. He also did another movie recently, Uncut Gems.
I loved that movie. Jordan and I watched that. Husband and I watched that.
Yeah.
Say.
He just chooses to. I've heard with him specifically, how he chooses movies aside from the dramas. Is it fun and can I bring my friends along?
Right.
That's what he does.
Right.
That's what I've heard he does.
It's been working for him though.
Good God, yes. My God.
But anyways, A Hard Day's Night.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, if we grew up in the early 60s or late 60s, I should say, we would probably be like all about this.
Yeah. Or I honestly think if you are a hardcore Beatles fan, you'd be all up on this too.
Yeah.
And if you are, go onto the Criterion Collection, get the 4K. Because I watched it on there. And the sound is excellent. The picture quality is amazing. It is really good. I
watched it on HBO Max, and I thought it was good.
Oh yeah. They usually get the 4K restorations on there. So
excellent.
Yeah, there's really not much to spoil because there's not much to the movie. Really.
That's it.
Okay. So you want to get into final discussions, final thoughts?
Let's do it.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and start?
Okay, as I've mentioned before, overall, I thought that the directing and the actual cinematography of it was really good. I love the black and white. It was my first black and white movie, as I told Wiz, and I enjoyed it. I thought the picture and the quality was sharp, especially for the time that it was shot in. I had a hard time with the British accents, which I probably should have put on subtitles when I watched it. But overall, I thought it was personally a little hard to follow. I thought the music was great, but again, I do enjoy the Beatles music. If you are not a Beatles fan whatsoever or have never even heard of the Beatles, then this movie is not for you. And again, it does have that slapstick humor that I am not a huge fan of, but if you are, then you may enjoy it. The quirkiness of it, etc. I do feel that it was more of a marketing tool than anything else, but as Wiz kind of pointed out, the Beatles seemed to have fun with it, and that brought out their overall charm. My 2 cents is I didn't love it, but it may be for somebody else.
I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 5 stars. I'm going to echo a lot.
Oh, I forgot to give you my star rating.
Go ahead.
I give it 2 stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 2.5. I'm going to echo a lot of what you said. If you are a Beatles fan, definitely watch it. If you're not, don't bother. It's got a nice look to it. It's fun. It's clear that the boys were not really serious about this, but it kind of adds to its charm. But if that annoys you, it's going to annoy you to death that they are just not taking this seriously at all. It's fun. It's a light movie.
Take it for what it is, right?
Right, yeah. It's a take it for what it is movie. It is a quick movie as well. It's not to be taken seriously. And it's, I guess, like, cynically, yeah, I would call it a marketing movie to a certain extent. But I guess because of its uniqueness to a certain extent, it's become beloved. But I know we're going to piss people off by saying it's a marketing movie. But it's what it kind of feels like to me, to a certain extent.
Well, that's exactly how I felt when I watched it.
Yeah.
It's the feeling that I got. And that's our opinion. Other people can have their own opinions.
But the problem is, Kim, we're right.
Hey, when we were younger, we used to agree on nothing.
That's true.
This is pretty good. This is great.
What
we're
happens?
In a good spot right now.
But see, Kim, what happens is when you get older, you realize the wisdom and the intelligence that people have, and you're just realizing now that I'm abundant of it.
Well, to be fair, you are my senior, so there's that.
That's true. That is true. Yeah. Anyway, 2.5 stars. I liked it. But like, it's more. I guess the best way I can put it is I liked it, but to be absolutely honest, I liked it only up to a certain point. Like, I'd have to be in the right mentality to watch this. If someone were to pop this in and say, "Oh, this is a great movie, watch it," and I watched it, I would have been, "Wow, that was severely disappointing."
You would have been pissed.
Yeah, I was like, that. Okay, whatever. The best way to put it is it's a music video movie. That's how I would look at it. If they just decided, hey, we're going to have like 5 or 6 music videos and we'll have this really thin plot that stretches all them out, then fine. That's what it is.
Well, again, it pretty much is a music video. Like it said, it kind of paved the way.
Yes.
For music videos. And
right. I'm going to give this 2.5 stars out of 5. And I think that's kind of generous. But I guess
I'm surprised that's what you're giving it.
But it's because I enjoyed it. I actually had a good time. But if I was like, if I didn't...
Yeah, the only reason I gave it 2 stars is because I actually did really enjoy the black and white film. Like, I enjoyed that part of it, but other than that, I was kind of like, meh.
I kind of bought into the silliness and the nonchalantness, if that's a word.
Where I was just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I bought into it where you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, is this over yet? Like, or can we get to the next song?
Yeah. So 2.5 stars for me, 2 stars for Kim on A Hard Day's Night. Okay, so we're gonna go for next week. You've now put the burden on me to pick the movies that we're gonna watch, and since it's opening day for baseball season, I thought it would be a good idea that we crack open some sports movies, specifically on the Diamond side. And I gave you a smattering of choices that we can go by with baseball movies. And you chose the 2014 sports drama $1 Million Arm, starring Jon Hamm and directed by Craig Gillespie. I don't know who this director is. But yeah, it's starring Jon Hamm. I think that's what matters most. Yeah.
Yeah, it has Jon Hamm in it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I wonder why you care so much. Oh, okay, hold on. Craig Gillespie directed some pretty good movies, actually. He directed I, Tonya, which is the movie about Tonya Harding.
Oh, I loved that movie. That was a good one.
A very good movie. He also did a movie called Lars and the Real Girl. I haven't seen it in a while, but that was an interesting movie.
I haven't seen that.
It's about a guy who falls in love with a sex doll.
Oh, that sounds crazy.
It's actually pretty good. It's one of the movies that I actually like Ryan Gosling in. But yeah.
I don't really like him in that many movies, so that's interesting.
I thought you were a fan of The Notebook.
I like it, but I don't love it.
Oh, so you're one of the normal ones. Okay, good.
I really do like La La Land, though, but I like that more because of the music and the dancing.
I love Emma Stone in that movie.
Yeah,
specifically, like Emma Stone is that movie to me.
Yeah,
Ryan Gosling is like, yeah, I'm here. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Ryan Gosling. Hi. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so we're going to watch the 2014 baseball movie $1 Million Arm starring Jon Hamm. Please tell us about your crush with Jon Hamm, if you must.
Oh my God, I love him. My husband told me that I could have a pass.
Really? You're really gonna just open that up? Okay.
I'm just gonna throw it out there.
You're just gonna throw it out there?
That I'd have a pass. He is just so handsome. And
he is.
Charming.
Yes, absolutely.
And just sweet. And like we were saying,
God,
he's actually a very funny man.
Yes, he is. God, I'm getting wet just thinking about it.
The best. I'm actually like watching clips of the trailer as we talk, and I'm just like, oh my God, he's so hot.
He's got that rugged look. Like, oh God.
Who's the woman in this? I just saw her face.
Lake Bell.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else is she in? She's in something else I've seen.
Lake Bell has been in a bunch of different movies. She's usually a side character in most movies.
Yes.
But yeah, she. What Happened in Vegas? Bless This Mess. No Strings Attached. I mean, those are the popular movies she's in.
Is she in any TV shows? I feel like she is. Where have I seen her before?
Probably. I mean, unless you've watched the Harley Quinn TV series, the animated Harley Quinn series, which actually is good. I will back up the Harley Quinn series. But other than that, she was in Boston Legal for a period of time. Yeah, I mean, we can really go over it after this, but I'm not seeing much else that I think you might have.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe
she was in the movie In a World. That was actually not bad.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's a weird movie, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so we are going to watch $1 Million Arm starring Jon Hamm for next week. So if you have suggestions of what we can watch the following week for baseball movies, be my guest. You can email us at zerowizcast@gmail.com. But until
then... Oh, you have an email address and everything? Wow, this is professional.
It's fucking free. You gotta be so sarcastic. I mean... Yeah, I don't want them to know my personal email, Kim. Yes.
Don't spam him. Don't spam him, guys. Like, give us some serious, suggestions here. We want to hear from you. And he's got this fancy email for you to send recommendations to.
Nothing disgusting or disturbing, please. Like I said, no Hostel, no Serbian film, no Sallow. We're not watching that shit. I'm not doing that. And they're not baseball movies either, so that doesn't matter. But anyway... So
we'll be on a baseball kick for a bit.
Yeah, well, for 2 weeks, it's opening day. I got completely hosed on my fantasy team though. I'm so pissed. Anyway, that is it for this episode of Capital Games Movie Club. Tune in next week where we review and watch $1 Million Arm starring Jon Hamm. I am the Wiz,
and I am Kim Shactman.
Talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.